how long have you been involved in Roots?
Okay, we've been involved in Roots since 2001. That was our first Roots meeting, and we first got involved by, we were invited to come to Artists en Masse, Artists en Masse in New Orleans, Louisiana, by, I guess, being involved with Jolivet Anderson. And she was a Roots member. She still is a Roots member, not active, but still, you know, Roots never go away. And it's been since 2001.
Okay. So by we, you mean you and your brother Carlton, so you both came in together at the same time?
Came in together as M.U.G.A.B.E.E, men under guidance, acting before early extinction.
Awesome.
And Carlton climbed the Roots ladder pretty quickly, and I just sat back.
Well, you've played some important roles as well. I know that you've been on the executive committee a number of times, right?
I have.
Okay, great. So what's your favorite Roots memory?
Oh, man, it's so many. It's hard to narrow down to one. I think the one that probably stands out the most was my first Roots memory, which was coming to, it was Bat Cave. It was the year we had it in Bat Cave. That was like the end of that M.U.G.A.B.E.E phase, which I think we might have had it one more time in M.U.G.A.B.E.E after we came in and then we moved. But I came up, and me and Carlton first came up there, and we was like one of maybe 5 blacks, period. Most of the blacks that were there came with us. So we came up and we was looking around, and we kind of dispersed, going different ways. And I walked around to the pool, and I carry my horn everywhere I go, as you know. And walking around to the pool, and Elise Witt was down at the pool, swimming in the pool. Say, "Hey, you! Maybe some swimming music." And she hadn't met me or known me from Adam, you know. And she just hollered out and asked me to play. And if somebody asked me to play, I always played. So I played for her. And not too long after that, she said, "Listen, whenever you're in Atlanta, you're staying with me."
All right.
So she invited us to her house, and for a long time, until recently, that's where we stayed. Whenever we came to Atlanta, we stayed at Elise Witt's house. And it was like, that was the first person that I really met at Austin Roots was Elise Witt. I think that was a beautiful way to meet her.
That is. I love the idea of you providing the music for her swimming choreography as well. That's a great image. So, what do you think is Roots' greatest opportunity at this moment in time?
To make art relative again. I think we do a good job of really pointing out that art is not just for the elite. I think that's what's happening in our society, is those who can afford to be surrounded by art, have the luxury to be surrounded by art, and those who don't or can't afford it usually just, you know, go without it, you know. And there's a lot of pop art or pop culture art that fills in that void for the people who can't afford to get fine. And I don't say, when I say fine art, I'm not talking about the classical arts, but fine art that comes from people's souls, you know. It's hard to get that if you don't have the money to be able to be immersed in it. And Roots has always stressed the importance of art making in community and community building through the arts. So I think, you know, us being on that frontier, us being Roots, being on that frontier of been doing it so long, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's always been the inception of Roots, is that it's about the community and about the art that's made to empower community. So I think that it's something that's going to be, you know, in this economic slum, people can't go out like they used to and see the shows and do different things. But the things that we've been doing all the time are going to be more and more and more relevant in this point in time. So the greatest opportunity is just making sure that the arts is relative again, and showing people that it's more about, you know, the gathering than the watching. You know what I'm saying? It's about the, you know, creating communities and building relationships between people.
That's
what art is supposed to do. Bring them.
So I know you're working on a C.A.B.E.E project right now, and I'd love it if you wouldn't mind to take a few minutes to tell the folks about your C.A.B.E.E project, what you're doing, who your partners are, what the goal of the project is, and what your timeline is.
Yeah. So State of the Nation, we've been doing this, and it's really, it goes back to our first introduction to Roots, which was being introduced through Artists en Masse with Jose Torres Thomas and Arts Productions and M.U.G.A.B.E.E Productions and all those New Orleans folks. So what we have done, and it's been really a real lasting relationship between Mississippi and Louisiana, or us and New Orleans, with really trying to keep a partnership going on. So we started a State of the Nation festival back in 2004, and the CAP project, or the CAP project right now, is going to be helping to get that on the road for this year. Last year we did it down in New Orleans, and this year we're doing it in Jackson. Our local partner in Jackson is Daniel Johnson from Jackson Arts Collective, and that group is a group that's just started in Jackson probably about 4 years ago. I'm thinking about 4 years ago, and they're trying to do the same thing, trying to bridge the gap between the finer arts and the people. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of. It's been really interesting to go into those meetings and go to the Jackson Arts Collective meetings, because it's been Jackson having a lot of race issues, Mississippi period to South period, but Jackson is one of those places where it never really got to be a blend in the society that we have over there, or the communities that we have. So to see, all these different artists doing dance and doing all these different things, visual arts, all kinds of stuff, it's been interesting to see that exists in such a number in Jackson. Because I wouldn't see that if I wasn't invited to that meeting. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't see those people, because it's still a separate kind of community going on in the arts community in Jackson. I mean, you got one side, which is your visual artists and your people who do art, dance and everything. On one side, which is academic and mostly geared towards privilege, and then you got the people who do a little bit less privileged art and a little bit more community art, but they don't really get together like that on a regular basis. So I think that's one of the things that's the goal, is to try to blur that line with the State of the Nation project this year, is to invite a lot of those people who wouldn't have been there without us being connected to Jackson Arts Collective into that, and really broaden that scope of what we do as artists in the community of Jackson, and then further out into the rural communities as well. The timeline, we're going to have it. I don't even know when we're going to get through with the actual festival, because it's kind of been in arms, but it will be done pretty soon. I mean, it'll be in the fall. Yeah.
And so, my understanding is that State of the Nation sort of rotates back and forth between New Orleans and Jackson. Is that correct?
Last year it was New Orleans. This year we're back in Mississippi, back in Jackson, and it's been a beautiful relationship. Seriously, the relationship that we have forged with Art Spot and Mondo Bizarro and M.U.G.A.B.E.E Productions and Jose and all the different people that's down there in that community of New Orleans, city community of New Orleans, and it's really been we're just family, man, and it's been working out very well as far as this festival that we've been doing. Last year was a big festival; it went very well. So hopefully we'll be able to top it up here in Jackson. That's what we're trying to do.
That's great. So speaking of such kind of collaborations, you're also involved in creating a new work called Race Peace, together with many other Roots members. It's a collaboration between M.U.G.A.B.E.E and Mondo Bizarro, and I think Junebug is sort of serving as an advisory group on that, correct?
Junebug and also Dudley Cock from Roadside Theater.
Great. So tell us about Race Peace. I know you guys presented a showing of that back at the annual meeting. Where is Race Peace today, and what comes next? Well,
interestingly enough, we're just coming back. I'm just making it back home from working with Mondo Bizarro down there in New Orleans, and we have a showing next week in Los Angeles, California. It's a partnership between we're working on almost like a Fringe festival, which is it's a theater festival, and we're showing Race Peace and doing some workshops. So with Race Peace is has been a multi-year project of Turner World Around, M.U.G.A.B.E.E, and Mondo Bizarro. So we decided a while back that we needed to do a piece together. And after doing Katrina, the uprooted piece, we were involved in the structuring of that piece. So we had already decided we wanted to be working together, but we decided that we needed to talk about race because during the